Let me tell you that at this moment, in my right hand, I am holding a bathroom sink plug. Do you believe me? Why? If you really wanted to know, what would you do? Are you sure? Thank you. You are such trusting souls. No, it's a bathroom plug. Yeah. In my right hand, I am holding a bathroom plug. Do you believe me? No. Do you believe me? Do you believe that in my right hand, I am holding a bathroom plug? How will you know? Yeah. You come and have a look. Bathroom plug. So, you know, I can't do magic, but yeah. So here you have a direct experience. Some of you still trust me that it's a bathroom plug, but that's all right. Yeah, it is a bathroom plug. So now you see it, now you don't. So just a moment ago, you had a very direct visual experience of a bathroom plug, and now you don't. Now you're inferring that it's in my hand. Would you agree with that? Especially if I did bathroom plug, watch carefully, watch carefully. You don't know, do you? But you know there was a bathroom plug, and we're still talking about a bathroom plug. It is in my hand. So when I say to you, you all have skeletons inside you. Have you ever seen your skeleton? Some of you might. But, yeah, you have. Yeah? I can say to you, you know, you all have a brain inside your skull. Have you ever seen it? Have you ever had a direct experience of your brain? No. No, you haven't. You might have had an indirect experience in terms of you've seen an X-ray, but you've never had a direct experience in the same way that I can say to you, can you see the bowl? That's a direct experience. You can see it, you can come up to it, you can touch it, you can smell it, you can do the whole thing with it. That's called direct experience. But you can't do that with your brain. It's locked in there. You know, the creator, whoever he or she is, was very sensible and put it in a really closed space so that you can't get to it. Sorry. So, when we go back to this model and we talk about the body as subject, the body as an experienced body, and then when we talk about the body as object, there are some parts of the body that you can see directly. The skin, and you can name all these various parts. And, you know, if I open my mouth, or if someone opens their mouth, you can peer down into their gullet and up their nose. But that's it. That's the only part of their body that's available to your direct sensation. So then you have to believe at face value the information that comes to you from the sciences of anatomy. Because you never see. You never actually get to see those muscles unless you've done dissection. You never get to see those structures. You look at a book and you go, yep, some expert has done that, and you believe it because they're an expert. Until a couple of years later, another expert comes along and says, well, actually, that was wrong. So we're talking about these two very distinct traditions in terms of what they call evidence of the senses or empiricism. There's the evidence of the senses that you can have very directly right now. You can feel the contact of the floor. You can feel the sensations of your own body. You can see the room. Absolutely direct. You don't have to believe anything from anybody. And then there are those second-hand experiences that you've never had, but you're willing to take on board that the earth is round because you've seen pictures. You're willing to take on board, that I was holding a plug in my hand. You're willing to take that on board. That's second-hand information. And that's always tricky stuff. Tricky stuff. So whenever you can, and I do believe that this is one of the advantages of what I call the somatic education approaches, is they allow the person to take those ideas, those experiences that are secondhand, that you have a skeleton, that there are muscles, you've never seen them. Okay, but let's do some things where you can think about those second-hand experiences and see what experiences come up in you that you can feel directly if you're contemplating those things. That kind of works well. But the truth still is the person hasn't had a first-hand experience, a direct experience of their musculature. They haven't seen it. They believe that there's muscles in there. Sorry about the Arnie Schwarzenegger theme, but it could be the Terminator. Yeah, it could be. So here's a real life example. I think it was in the last year of my training program, and do you remember Vladimir? Vladimir was a really great guy. I mean, he was a very enthusiastic man. Yeah. He comes up to me, he says, Zoran. I said, what? I said, I just found an article. You won't believe what it is. I go, wow, okay. He said, this guy hasn't got a brain. I said, what? I said, this guy who's like got an IQ of 120, he said, this guy doesn't have a brain. I said, come on, give me the article. I didn't believe him. Give me the article. And there it is, in cross-section X-ray. He's got this little rind of a brain. Like if you think of an orange, the rind of an orange, that's all he's got. All the middle section gone. He had what's known in childhood as hydroencephalitis. In other words, there's swelling of the brain and the brain gets pushed and a lot of the brain dies off. Anyway, this guy had like a rind of a brain. And no one knew that he didn't have a brain until at some time later on in his life, he started to get a few headaches, and then they took a couple of x-rays and they went, oh, no brain. Well, he really did have a brain, but it was not like a brain like yours and I. And yet he was 100% functioning. What gives? So you see, you really don't know what's in there. You really don't know the details of the structure of your joints and what they allow. You really don't know the extent and the shape of your own musculature. You really don't know these things, but you can start to inquire them using second-hand experience maps. And that's what anatomy offers us, a map. A map to go, okay, so let's assume there's muscle in there. And I know muscles get tense, so let's see if we can tense up. Oh yeah, something changes here. And then you just infer, just like you inferred when I said, see that? And now you're inferring that it's still in there. If I was a really good magician with a sleeve, you might be wrong. So it's an inference. So anatomical maps are really useful to guide your attention when you're doing somatics. Yeah, really, really useful. So that's why it's useful to get to know a little bit about the shape of the skeleton. In the same way that if you were going to an art gallery to see a sculptural exhibition, you would go to look at the sculpture from all the different angles to appreciate it aesthetically. It's a good way to look at the skeleton. A good way to look at the musculature. Yeah. So use those maps. But if you just stay with the maps by themselves, you might as well just buy a map of Paris and study it and go, I've been to Paris. When in actual fact, you haven't. You haven't smelt the smells. You haven't dodged the dog shit. Sorry, back to that again. You haven't been there. You've just engaged with a map. Does it make sense? Yeah. And in these days, where information is like so removed for it, even you can watch a documentary on TV about Scandinavia, and it's rich and it's informative, but it's a flat image on a screen. You have lots of information. You have kind of like a very removed experience, but it's nothing like going to Scandinavia. And this is where a lot of our children are spending their time, in this abstracted, removed reality, not playing in the playground. Now, given that first-hand experience is gained by you moving through the world and manipulating the world, then what are you losing out on by just sitting there and doing that? You're losing out on a lot of coordinations that you were built to have. So, of course, it's going to affect your structure and your health. Just is. So that's what we're facing. Even when it comes to attention, paying attention to something, watching that camera up there. Yeah. So very often I'm called upon, because I have all the camera and the kit, you know, I am a nerd. So can you come and video a workshop for us, please? So there I am. I've got one camera set up, 2, 3. And most of the workshop, it's a Feldenkrais workshop, and I'm sitting there behind the camera and I'm videoing it. And because I'm busy looking at the screen, I'm almost like half disengaged from what's going on out there. And then my recall really sucks. I have a hard time recalling anything. So they said, what did you get out of the workshop? I know you were behind the camera a lot. And I really say, I'll let you know when I've done the editing. Yeah. So there's something, even looking behind a screen and videoing something while it cuts me off from that direct experience, from just going, and just looking and somehow engaging. And very often when we visually engage, if it's something familiar, we're kind of doing that in the background. We're actually moving ourselves a little bit. Yep. Yeah, she's, there was movement at the station. Yeah.
I do know that. Yeah, at our school plays, I mean, you just sort of see you see a sea of
videos.
Like the parents are watching it like that. I'm one of the parents. I'm like, oh, I would do that. And we ended up, at our school, it's just a video is set up, and that's the video, and then phones are banned, because you just don't get the same experience watching, and the kids are just seeing like a sea of little things getting held.
Your attention is split between getting the shot and what's happening on stage. Now, in order to get a record. Whereas if you just put down the screen and watched, you'd be so engaged in that moment. So that's a different experience. And of course, it's only been, what, 100 years? Less than that. 40 years since we've had all that capacity. So can you see what's happening with your capacity to pay attention? There was a time that when there was no handwriting, now this is a Feldenkrais story, it's not my story. There was a time when there was no handwriting, and the only way to remember things was orally. Might you think that people had a better oral attention when that was necessary? Yeah. Might you think that then community was important because everybody had a little bit of a different oral memory, and then they get to share it? We're kind of like in the same place, the opposite end, where everybody's just posting to Facebook. But yeah. So there was a time that we were able to remember a lot more by being directly present because there was nothing to record it with. And so that's how our brains evolved. Our brains evolved to actually remember lots of stuff. And this is why Feldenkrais encourages, from the very first day of his training program at Amherst, he encourages, I'm going to rephrase it a little bit, please make notes, but make them in the breaks. Make them after class. Why? Because then you can fully engage with what you're doing, and that will allow you to remember. And then you can not only do that, you can go away and write things in longhand in a way that you'll have a far better chance of understanding what that is, rather than a few little jottings and then going, when it's out of context, going, what was that? So this is what he was encouraging. Why? Another Feldenkrais belief. Because our brains have more capacity than we give them credit for. You're kind of like half distrusting your brain. You know, so when I'm up the front and doing this kind of stuff, you know, if you want to video it on your camera, yeah, that's fine, video it. But know that you're actually removing yourself half a step back from the experience. And if that's a conscious choice on your part, if you're going, yes, I'm deliberately going to remove myself half a step back, do it. Because that's Feldenkrais's definition of correct action. For Feldenkrais, the only definition, the most fundamental definition of correct action is you're doing what you want to be doing and you know that you want to do it. That's correct. So if you want to remove yourself from the first-hand experience and put it on the phone because you don't trust your brain, well, go ahead. It's your choice. But if you could just go, okay, so look, he's stringing the string there. What's that line? What's that? What's that? What's that? You'll find yourself engaging in the same way that you're doing an awareness through movement lesson. In other words, there's no discontinuity between what you do in ATM and what you do when your observer's giving FIs or at the front of the room or working with somebody else. There's absolutely an ongoing continuity. You're just present. You're present, you're present, you're present, you're present. With nothing going, not even, I can't do this. Because that already disconnects you. As soon as you go, I can't do this, I won't remember this, that's a disconnect. So that's a nice thing to practice. Yeah? It's your choice. All right. Shall we do an ATM? Okay, please. Lie on your back for a little while.